Well, welcome to this edition of Making Reagan. I'm Mark Joseph, and I've got Trevor Donovan here today. Trevor, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much, Mark.
Into our faux Oval Office here. Trevor plays a really important role in this film, that of a man that I actually got to know quite a bit, John Barletta, a Secret Service agent, who was assigned the duty of riding with Reagan, as his book is called.
Mm-hmm.
And Trevor, before we get into the nitty-gritty, I just want to talk about the getting on the set and you talking to John's sister on the phone. Remember that?
Yes.
That was pretty wild. We're there on the set, you got your John Barletta gear on, and somebody gives the phone, and it's his sister.
Yes, someone who works at the ranch and is familiar with Barbara, I believe her name is. So I get on the phone with his sister, and she's very excited about me playing the role, and it was a last-minute hire, so I had about a week to prepare.
And we should say John passed away a few years ago.
So I didn't get a chance to actually meet John. It would have been fantastic, but my research consisted of videos I could find online, which they were primarily later in his life, post presidency, of course, post Reagan, and in his later years, and I wanted to get an idea of the dynamic, the relationship between he and Reagan, he and Nancy, what how big of a presence he was on the ranch. Got a really good idea. Really became part of the family. A really good friend of Reagan's, and he has, in the videos I watched, a slight Boston accent that I wasn't really noticing or focusing on so much. So cut to being on the first day of set. We shot a little scene of just us riding out, no dialogue. When I was talking to his sister on the phone, she expressed how excited she was that I was portraying him and couldn't wait to hear my Boston accent.
No pressure.
None. I had to be on set at 8 a.m. the next morning with a Boston accent that I had not prepared at all. So I was a little bit stressed out. I watched every single Ben Affleck, Matt Damon movie I could get my hands on, and it actually, I think, turned out all right. I was a little worried about it, but I just hope I do not only him justice, but the accent as well.
No, you did. It was, like you said, it was a slight, right? It
Yeah.
wasn't, you didn't do too much.
Yeah.
It was just like the right amount.
Yeah, I didn't.
Because he'd been on the West Coast for so long, so he'd probably lost
for decades.
some of it.
Yeah, for decades, and hadn't been around that accent. And I know a lot of people from Australia or Europe, some other places in Europe, where the accent begins to fade and they start to adopt a little bit of a more American accent. So, just try to make it subtle and not distracting.
Yeah. Oh, there's so much to talk about with you. But, thinking of John, I think I met John around 2009 or so. And, I would just call him whenever I was stumped by something. I'd just give him a call and say, what about this? What about that? And he was just always ready to take a call. And I remember the most memorable time was I called him up because I'd heard a wild story that Reagan had met with John Hinckley after the assassination attempt, because he wanted to forgive him in person.
I'd heard this too. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. Like the president going and hanging. I mean, the Pope did it with his shooter, but still, it's not the norm, right?
Right.
You don't go visit the guy who tried to kill you and say, hey, just want to make sure everything's cool with us.
Just let you know that I forgive you.
Right,
yeah,
right.
That's.
So John, he checked around and he said, look, we have no records of it happening. Doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Right.
But he didn't tell me about it if he did.
Right.
So that was always interesting. But that's the kind of thing that I would call up and, ask questions about. And we met up several times. But I think you're about the same height. His hair was a little darker than yours. But just, he was... and, of course, I saw him when he was a lot older. And so when he was younger, very much the same vibe. But you did such a great job. And it was a very emotional scene for you. Talk about that a little bit, because I saw you getting choked up there on the set.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, in the videos I watched, he tells the story, which is in his book, which is in the movie as well. The day he has to go tell Reagan that he can't ride horses anymore, which was he loved more than anything in the world. And there's a couple scenes. One, the first scene is me telling Nancy that we lost him and that a horse knows when a rider isn't in control anymore and he's going to get bucked. And she, in tears, tells me that she can't tell him he can't ride anymore. He loves it more than anything, that I have to tell him. So of course, I say okay, and walk up to tell him while he's working on a saddle that I don't think we should ride anymore. When John tells the story in a lot of his speeches and a lot of the videos, he never fails to mention how difficult it was, and it was one of the few times he can ever remember crying, or tears coming to his eyes anyway. Seeing the way Dennis played Ronald Reagan, especially in those moments where, he's getting dementia, he's starting to not really know what's going on where he is, that's heartbreaking. I kind of imagine if my dad was in that situation, if I saw my dad deteriorating like that mentally, how difficult that would be for me. So it wasn't actually too hard to get emotional in that moment, because to the degree at which he loved riding horses, it was his favorite thing in the world, and I, being his best friend, have to tell him he can't do it anymore. So yeah, it was a very emotional scene, and a scene that I could sort of relate to the difficulty of having to tell someone something like that. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. There also was a great scene or a funny scene, I should say, with you and the other Secret Service agent on the plane.
Yeah.
Where they're looking for someone to take this role, right, of riding with the president, and he explains and so you go, so my job's going to be riding with the president, riding horses, like that's a tough job.
Let me through here, twist my arm.
Right. And then the agent says to you, "Giddy up." That's a fun scene too. You got to have humor in these things, right?
Yeah, it's. I think some of the funniest things are breaking that dramatic tension with a little bit, a lot of times dry humor.
What about Air Force One? What was that like to be on Air Force One?
I was just about to say, another amazing part of filming this movie is when we were riding horses, we were on the Reagan Ranch. We were at his ranch, at his home. Yeah. When we got to film my introductory scene that you were just talking about in Air Force One, we were at the Reagan Library in, I guess it would be Simi Valley, in the Air Force One that President Reagan flew in. So I get to sit in the seats and walk through the actual plane. It was incredible.
It's pretty wild. I'm pretty sure this is the first time any film is ever filmed on Air Force One. I think every other film has been on the set, as far as I can tell. I'm sure the listeners will correct me if I'm wrong, but for sure this Air Force One.
Yeah.
But all the things we've seen are all, I think, on sets. So it is kind of wild to be in the same space, the physical space.
Fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic. Yeah, we didn't have to rebuild. We didn't have to be a replica. It was the actual plane that was up in the air. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, there's a scene where him and her are discussing whether he's going to run for president in '80. And it's in the kitchen, and I'm thinking, like, this is probably where it actually happened. Yeah. Where they have those conversations.
Exactly.
And there is something there's something special about that ranch in general. But also, it's funny. I think you bought a house recently, your childhood home. Mm-hmm. It seems to me that our houses, or the places we choose to make our houses, tell us something about us, right? In the case of Reagan, as I went up for the first time to that ranch, it's like you can really see a guy who likes being with people, but that has to get away and be alone and recharge, because it's like a half an hour to get there. You get on those meandering roads, and then,
the first morning going to set, it was dark before the sunrise, and I thought for sure I was lost. And then you lose cellular connection up there, so GPS doesn't work. I'm like, well, I guess I'm
gonna wing it.
Yeah, I'm gonna see if this is it. And it's not a kept road. There's potholes. There's cliff on the side. Like you don't feel like you're going to Reagan's ranch.
Yeah, you're not going to a president's hideaway.
Exactly, and that I can relate to. Yeah. Having that escape. I love being around people. I love talking to people. I love meeting people. But I, like Reagan, need that escape to get away, decompress. My childhood home that I just bought is up in the mountains in the town I grew up in Mammoth Lakes in California, and it's it's my happy place, and it's a place to get away and be with nature and work on my house. And
But even that's interesting. So you bought a place in your hometown.
yeah.
He didn't. So that's already telling us something about you. You like to stay connected to your roots, right? And have the same people in town that you knew when you were growing up and that kind of thing.
Mostly, my parents are up there.
Right.
So that's the people, as far as the tie to people up there, it's just mainly my parents.
Yeah.
At certain holidays, it is like a high school reunion as well, like Thanksgiving and stuff, because a lot of my buddies parents still live up there, so
They come back.
We meet up, we go up to the mountain together, or go out to the lakes together or something. So yeah, I had such a wonderful upbringing and wonderful childhood. I'd like to stay connected to it.
How many in your family?
My parents
How
and
many
I have a
kids?
younger brother, about 2.5 years younger.
And what does he do?
He's a firefighter, Sacramento City.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got a little family. He's doing great. So.
Well, you are, I mean, I'm sure you've done a lot of things, but I think probably our audience would know you from your Hallmark movies, right? How many of these have you done, and what's that about? What's that like?
I want to say I've done 9 or 10 plus 2 acquisition projects, which the acquisition projects were with another actor in this movie, John Voight. I play his son in two Hallmark movies as
Did
well.
you shoot that in Kentucky?
Yes,
Got
both
it.
in Kentucky. Yep. And working with Hallmark's fantastic. They've really got. They have such a loyal fan base, and they've really got a system down of making these.
Their fan base is in my house. That's why I know about the fan base.
The people that approach me, I'm shocked by the people. I mean, I had these bikers, 50, 60-something-year-old bikers, approach me in Napa Auto Parts. And they didn't just say, hey, I think I recognize you somewhere. They yelled from across the store, marry me at Christmas. Going, are you kidding me? And then the guy goes, oh, well, my wife makes me watch them. Yeah, right. They're these really, feel good, somewhat predictable movies, but they've done so well. And Hallmark in general has really found amazing crews and groups of people and actors who are really amazing people and really fun to work with and good people to be around, for a month while you're shooting these things in close quarters. So it's a really fun gig.
And where do you shoot them?
A lot are done in Canada. Crown Media, which is the Hallmark umbrella company or whatever, is British Columbia. So a lot of them are in Canada, but they're starting to move a lot down into the States. I shot a Christmas movie last year in North and South Carolina. I shot a fall movie the year before in Utah. And I'm hoping to do, I want to do one in Pennsylvania. I'm working with the Ad Council on Hallmark on an anti-bullying initiative. And I started it just prior to COVID, and I went and visited a middle school in Deer Lakes, Pennsylvania. And it went really, really well, and kind of held an assembly, and all these kids were very interactive and stuff. So I wanted to start visiting middle schools throughout the country. And another thought was, if we shoot a movie in a town or a city anywhere in the States, that a middle school nearby or multiple middle schools kids could come visit set. I could go visit the middle schools on my time off and get them involved and them being part of the project. So hopefully when this COVID stuff lightens up, I'll be able to get back to that.
And how did you get into Hallmark movies? Were you doing other movies and series before that?
Yeah. My acting career really kind of got started on 90210. And since then, which was in 2010, 11, I was doing other TV shows and things. And my first Hallmark was a movie called Strawberry Summer, and I got to play a country music rock star. So I sang and write music and play the guitar. So I got to write the music for it and perform in the movie. And then it was a couple years before I started working again. It was like this gradual progression of one movie every other year, then one movie a year, and then it got, it's kind of gradually gotten up to two movies a year, 3, So it's been, I've eased into it, but it's been a great place, and hopefully doing a lot more in the future.
I don't know the answer to this question, but is there any downside to the Hallmark does that keep you from other roles, or does it sort of pigeonhole you in a certain manner? Any issues like that come up?
So my first Hallmark movie, Strawberry Summer, I hesitated taking. The one thing that really brought me in was that it involved playing music and writing and stuff. So I thought, well, that's going to be fun. I think there was a stigma attached for a while in the past. Mm-hmm. The current environment in the industry is, I mean, A-list actors are doing commercials. They're going from TV to movies. Before,
streaming series,
limited series, all these things.
Right.
Before, either you were a movie star or you were a TV actor or a movie actor. There wasn't really a whole lot of crossover. That has since changed, and there's such quality stuff happening all over the place. And the number of people that tune in to watch Hallmark movies blows the numbers out of the water, from every other show. I mean, we get better numbers than The Walking Dead. It's really unbelievable. It's kind of an unrecognized and untapped demographic. Because of those numbers, it's a lot of people are interested in doing them, and the stigma's kind of faded away, and I've been able to cross over and do other indie films and other TV shows. This movie...
So you can go back and forth now, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah. You aren't pigeonholed as much as you used to be.
In the old days, if you were a TV star... Well, Tim Allen is a good example of the exception of that. He would go back and forth.
Yeah, and I think there's always been exceptions. Mm-hmm. In the comedy world especially, you got Tim Allen, you've got King of Queens. What's his name?
Yep, I know who you're talking about. He goes back and forth.
Yeah.
But it's much more accepted now.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. Interesting.
Yeah. Which because there's so much amazing TV shows, limited series shows and stuff that are definitely cinematic quality. Yeah. And it's opening up a world for actors too, and I don't think there should be a stigma attached, because it takes a certain skill set to do all of these little things. If you're going to do it well, a half-hour, multicam live audience show takes a certain skill set that a 1 hour drama does not. Everything has special requirements, so I think all should be appreciated in realizing this takes talent to do all of it.
And you came to us not through our casting director, which is often the case, but through our director, Sean.
Yeah, Sean.
You guys had worked together. He said, "I got to get this guy in," and
which
he would talk about you.
So flattering, because I worked with Sean McNamara on a film where I played John Voight's son. I worked with John Voight and James Caan on this thing. It was just a really cool experience. It had been at least 3 years, if not 4, about 3 years, I guess, since I talked to him, since I worked with him, since I saw him, and to get the phone call out of the blue and to be offered this.
You obviously made an impression.
I guess so, and it was so flattering, and so with that I felt a certain amount of responsibility as well, which is why I dove into the research of what kind of friendship they had and what his role was, while meanwhile just completely missing the fact that he had a Boston accent. And I thought, well, he wasn't a real public figure. No one's gonna know. I gotta really focus on what the relationship is. That's the most important part. And then after talking to John Barletta's sister, I realized, nope. To those people close to John, I knew him, the Boston accent's going to be a really important part of it too. So
I think on the set I played for you, I got John to tell Dennis and I in Reagan's house exactly what happened that last scene, and I think I played that for you on the set. It's always good to. I mean, look, we're not making a documentary here, right? We're combining things. For instance, you come upon Reagan holding that White House. That really happened with Nancy, for instance.
Right.
Again, you have some liberties here as long as the spirit of it is correct. But it's always helpful just to know what really went on and try to get as close as you can for those kinds of moments. But
no, absolutely, because I worked on a Western. It was a miniseries for the History Channel years ago with an amazing director, Roland Joffe, and we talked about. It was the story starts at the fall of the Alamo and goes into the Battle of San Jacinto and the acquisition of the Texas territory from Mexico. The creative liberties you take need to be consciously chosen, because you can't let any authentic parts of the story fall through the cracks, because whether or not people know it they recognize it. I don't know if that makes sense. Even if you weren't there in 1846, if there's something off about that time period, something with the clothing, something with the setup, something with the way people talk, even if people aren't really aware, they're going to kind of notice that something doesn't match. So while taking creative freedoms, you also you need to kind of figure out exactly who these people were and where they were coming from and what their relationship was, or something's not going to feel right.
Yeah. It's interesting. And then I think your hair was it darkened a little bit for this role?
No, so I just got back from Hawaii.
Yeah.
I was shooting a little rom-com over there. Then I stayed for another week to surf. This is my natural hair color after being in the sun a bunch. For most of the movie, I'm in a baseball cap with hair coming out the back. Well, that's a wig.
Yeah, it was a little dark.
It's a little darker. It's like a light brown. And then for my introduction scene on Air Force One, did a haircut, kind of plastered my hair down a little bit, put stuff in it, makes it look darker. So
why did we have a wig on you?
For length. I didn't quite have enough length. We were just looking at a lot of the photos on the ranch where he was walking around in that time period, and he had kind of more of a late 70s, early 80s style, flippy curly hair. So.
Yeah. Is this what you always wanted to do when you were growing up as a kid?
No.
No. What did you want to do?
I graduated from the Art Institute of LA with a degree in graphic design, bachelor's in graphic design. I was going in that direction, but sitting in front of a computer was freaking me out. I had some friends in the stunt world, so I started taking precision driving courses and jumping off of things, and because that's what I grew up doing, those kinds of sports: ski racing, and snowboarding, mountain biking, rock climbing, and jumping things, and dirt bikes. And so I was entering kind of into the industry that way, but I started taking acting classes and auditioning, and eventually kind of ended up booking things after a few years. But yeah, I started when I was about 26.
Do you ever look at old Hollywood and think this is not quite what it used to be? In terms of like the parties and the social aspects, and it's not quite like that today, obviously because of COVID.
It's nothing like that. I feel like the majority of Hollywood and the parties, they're ruled by reality stars and online influencers and Instagram stuff. It's all this with this big onset of social media and things. You can kind of become famous overnight in my opinion, for nothing. But so no, I wasn't around for old Hollywood, but from the sounds of it, it's nowhere near the same.
They're at supper clubs and doing the whole thing, and it's kind of not happening anymore, right?
No,
hasn't for a while.
No, and I feel like the majority of actors aren't even really into the social scene of Hollywood anymore. Hollywood isn't the central. We don't even make movies here anymore.
Right.
You cast out of here. There's a few, studios. If you're doing in studio show or movie, some of it's shot here. But for the most part, you go on location and you go to other countries, other states.
And then COVID has even exacerbated it even more, right? I probably have 50 friends in the business who've moved in the last year. Idaho, Florida, Texas, Nashville. I mean, I'm shocked. And that happens really quick. Like, I'll call up my friend Jack and he'll go, "Oh, I moved to Dallas." I'm like, "When?" "Oh, I put my house up for sale and it was sold in a week." And
yeah.
It's just, is this going to be a permanent thing? You think we're just dispersed? Like you said, the filming is everywhere, right?
Well, California is too expensive to shoot in, which is one of the primary reasons. There's tax incentives and other things in different states, which takes the production. So if you can save money and put more money into the quality production, you're going to do it. It's just so expensive to live here, And then like you said, with COVID, this is one of the reasons why I bought my childhood home, because I just knew I could spend so much more time up in Mammoth. I didn't have to be here as much.
How long is your drive from
5
town?
hours.
It's 5 hours to Mammoth.
Which I've been doing it for 25 years, so it's nothing.
But are the auditions? You don't have to audition anymore, but when you had to audition,
yes, I do.
Are they Zoom auditions now?
They're just
still in person?
self-tapes.
Self-tapes, right.
So I can do them from anywhere, with anyone.
So what do you really need to come to town for?
Exactly. What do I need to come to town
That
for?
was a question.
No, you pretty much just said it.
Right.
Yeah. It is opening up a little bit. I'm here with you now, which we wouldn't have done 6 months ago.
Right. It's the occasional meeting, probably.
Occasional meeting. I do. My manager and I are also producing partners, so the stuff that we like to talk about in person often.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there is still more of a work energy in LA. I get up to Mammoth, and sometimes I kind of fade off into the mountains, and I'm hiking for 3 days, and I'm oh crap, I need to get.
Do you
back
really
to
hike
work.
for 3 days?
No, I'm not much of an overnight hiker, but I'll do a 15-mile hike one day, come back, and then do a 10-mile the next day, and then I'll just go on a little surf trip or something. So
I like the way you just said it. I was in Hawaii and I just surfed for a week at the end of my shoot.
Well, I promised the production I wouldn't surf during production.
For injury reasons.
Yeah, there's a lot of coral reefs and things to cut, which actually my first day in the water, I opened my feet up quite a bit and stuff. But if I were to get cut in my face or anything, we'd have to put production on hold, and that's not fair to anybody. So I waited until the last day, and then I grabbed a surfboard and I disappeared for a week. I just went surfing all around Maui.
Where'd you stay?
I stayed a couple nights in a really nice Sheraton, but between that, one night I slept in my van, which was a rental car, which I got from one of the producers because there were no rental cars available in Maui, because apparently they shipped their whole inventory over to the mainland during COVID, and now they didn't get them back in time for the tourist influx. So I was having a hell of a time finding a car, and got a little minivan from one of the producers and just cruised around and kept my surfboard in there, slept in the back one night, and just wherever I ended up, I'd stay. So,
what is it like? I mean, I suppose you haven't known anything else, but I mean, we're in an area of hyper-connectivity, right? So your fans can reach out to you on social, I assume on social media, whatever. Mm-hmm. What is that like? Is it weird to have too much connectivity to your audience?
It can be a little strange. There's a really good upside to it. You could really get fans involved, let them keep them up to date, let them know what you're up to, and they're setting stories up and stuff on social media can make them feel like they've got something to look forward to every day. It's a really interesting thing. On the flip side of that, there's also a lot of people that, I can't answer all the DMs. I can't answer all the questions. Some of them are just, hey, and then I start getting angry because I'm not answering. And there's certain things where I'm like, okay, well, I'm still a person with private life and stuff. So it's the good thing is you have control over it. You have control over how much access people have to your life, and if you feel like it's a little too much, you can always take a step back. So,
what do your parents think about all this?
They're shocked because I was so introverted and shy when I was a kid. They can't even believe I'm doing what I'm doing.
Really?
Yeah, but they do. They love the project choices that I've made. Mm-hmm. Love all the Hallmark stuff. Obviously, and love this idea. I mean, Reagan got into office when I was 2 years old. So he's the first president I remember. So this was really, really cool. My dad was in his late 30s, early 40s when Reagan was in office. So this is all a lot of the stuff that happened. I mean, my parents are so excited to see it because all the stuff they'll be able to see, a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that they weren't familiar with and didn't know about.
And they're going to come down and watch the movie when we have a rough cut, right?
Yep.
Going to bring mom and dad down.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, they're loving it.
Kind of looking ahead. What are some roles that, have you ever thought of any roles that I'd like to play this, I'd like to play that character? Any of those thoughts in your head?
I got a movie coming out this next year called Wolfhound. I play a German fighter pilot in World War II. So I got to play the villain, which doesn't...
A Nazi. You're a Nazi fighter pilot?
He's not technically a Nazi, but he's a German fighter pilot under the Nazi regime. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. But Yeah, so
it's okay, by the way. If
yeah,
you were playing a Nazi.
Well, yeah, I mean, and visually I fit in that category. So to play the villain was very interesting,
right?
And it's something I don't get a chance to do a lot. And I think as an actor, you get done with one project, and it's almost like I'd like to go in the opposite direction. That's hard to do because a lot of us just kind of fit in a certain category and tend to get more job offers and more opportunities in that category. But anytime you can veer off and do something challenging and outside of what people usually see you as, that's the direction I want to go in. So a specific role, I mean, I would love to do another Western time period piece. Love to do another World War II film. American history really interests me. Wild West, frontier, 1800 days. So
you're older than you look, right? Is that fair to say?
Depends.
So do you get roles that are younger than your actual age?
Usually, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, Barletta was different. You probably were about the same age as John was.
Yeah.
I would say. But, so you tend to get late 20s, 30s?
Right now, I'm like early to mid-30s.
Right.
Yeah. When I was on 90210, I was 30 years old playing a teenager.
Which is the original one was like that too, right?
Yeah.
The two of them, Jason and Jason Priestley and what's the other guy's name? They were both, I think, about 30, playing 18, if I recall.
Yeah, I was 30 playing, it turns out, like 16.
Why is that? Just because it's hard to find teenage actors, or
I guess.
Why do we do that?
I guess. I mean, they typically hire at least a little older, especially high school. If you shoot kids under 18, can only work a certain amount of hours. It makes it difficult.
That's what it is.
And then I think there's also just the idea of there being they're touching on a lot of adult topics, and so it could be a little off-putting showing actual high school kids dealing with things, even though high school kids deal with kind of adult topics. When you see it on screen, I think it's a little easier to wrap your head around if they don't look like children.
Our teenage Reagan, David Henry, is a little bit older than the real thing, but that's just because we had a delay of a couple of years. It's not his fault. So he's like, I know he'd say, if this movie doesn't happen soon, I'm going to be have to have some hair dyeing going on, or different things like that. But luckily, David looks very young, and I think he'll easily pass for teen Reagan. I don't know if he's looking forward to wearing that singlet, the lifeguard uniform, but what do you got to do?
You got to tell the story.
Yeah, it's an interesting story. The lifeguard. The idea of the lifeguard is so imprinted in I think in Reagan's persona that when he grows up, I think he still saw himself as like a lifeguard. And interesting that the lifeguard wasn't often when he would save somebody's life, they would often not thank you because you've just embarrassed them basically in front of all their friends.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you think I was drowning? No, I wasn't drowning. I was
fine. I'm fine.
I went back to that river, and nobody's allowed to swim anymore. Like, that's how dangerous it was.
Is that right?
That they're not taking any chances anymore with anybody getting drowned.
Interesting.
Drowning there. So I'm not sure if it was really they said he saved 77 lives. I think among those 77 were girls saying, "Hey, I'm drowning over here.
Help me.
Right. Come help me, Ronald Reagan, Mr. President." But I'm sure there was some, and it does seem like it was a dangerous place. But it was pretty wild to be there. I wish we can go sometime out there together with some of the promotion that we have to do. But what struck me, and I don't mean this in any disrespect to Dixon, Illinois, but there isn't a lot happening in that town. It's, as I recall, it's like a gas station, a Holiday Inn, a Pizza Hut, and maybe I missed all the great places, but that's what I remember.
What else do you need?
Yeah, and I mean that again, not in a negative way, but just to say that this is where our people come from. The people who become president. The last prime minister of Japan was the grandson of a prime minister. Dad was the foreign minister. It's like passed down.
Right.
And our guys come from. Think about it. Obama's father wasn't around. His mom is whatever. He grew up by himself with his grandparents. Kind of comes from nowhere. Clinton, Jimmy Carter, Reagan. With the exception of the Bushes, a lot of our presidents are just dudes.
And I think that kind of sums up and symbolizes the idea of the American dream, that you can come from,
Yeah.
I don't want to say nothing, but
Right.
not this majestic lineage like
Right.
you're saying, but just very simple upbringings, and
Yeah.
you can become the president of the United States.
Which is a lot like your upbringing up in Mammoth. I'm not saying you have to run for political office, but you know.
Well, I think there's, it's something grounded about people that grow up that way. They grow up kind of working with their hands, working for everything that they have, and they're used to having to put forth that effort in order to get results. So I think that's a good foundation of character for someone like a president to have.
What did your parents do?
My dad is a general contractor, built houses, started his own business, taught himself to draw and design houses. Just retired 2 years ago, and my mom kept us all together and sane and fed, and my brother now is a firefighter, and I run around playing make-believe.
Would you ever run for public office? Was something you would ever consider? Sounds like
as I get a little older,
sounds like you've thought about it before.
Well, I've had conversations with certain people in politics.
People are trying to recruit you to run for office.
Yeah.
Well, California, I mean, we've had a ton of, right? We've had Clint Eastwood, mayor of Carmel. We've had, obviously, Ronald Reagan. We had a senator, Schwarzenegger. We had a senator named George Murphy back in the day. I don't know if he was a Republican or Democrat, but I think it was in the 60s. We've had a lot of celebrity politicians.
And it seems like the trend is only going to get bigger. It's, with people trying to talk The Rock, Johnson into running.
Right.
Oprah Winfrey at one point was being asked if she would ever consider doing
Man,
that.
I wish Oprah would have run. Just imagine if it had been Oprah versus Trump in 2020.
Oh.
Wouldn't that have been an awesome race?
Wow, that would have been one of the most historic
Trump.
race to date.
That would have been so much fun. To me, I mean, obviously, I know politics is a serious business, but to me, it's so much fun, like the pageantry of it. And I know it's gotten nasty and everything, but imagine having an Oprah and Trump debate. It's like a great prize fight, like a Foreman versus whomever. I mean, that would have been amazing.
I mean, it's like this. It's like a reality show.
Yeah, it is. It's like a sporting event. I don't know. She didn't want to do it though. I'm curious. I don't know. Maybe it's just probably too much. It's probably just too much work, right, for someone like that. It just constantly.
Yeah, and when you put yourself in that position, and anything and everything goes. People start trying to dig things up. People, it's a very unforgiving place to be, and I think that's talk about an invasion of privacy and everything. I just don't know.
So that would keep you from it.
It would be a difficult thing for me. Not that I have anything to hide, but
of course not.
I've done nothing wrong.
How about the mayor of your town? Could be the mayor.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Get your feet wet, see how it feels.
Yeah, I guess I could start small and expand from there.
Someone's going to come forward and say you stole a pack of gum in 4th grade or something. How bad could it be? But that's so you've thought about it. People have mentioned it to you, and we've never discussed politics, of course. But that's interesting. That I was just reading last night. In fact, I've been still doing some research, and Reagan really had to be talked into running for governor. He I don't think he was playing coy. I think, for one thing, he did not want to fly. That was a deal breaker. And they tried. They said you have to fly, and they had set up a speaking engagement for him in Ohio or somewhere, and it was going to take 7 days to get him there and back. And it's like, we can't. So then he just. This is the part I've never been able to figure out. How did he get over that? I'm not sure. He just said, "Okay, I'm going to do it," but who knows how he got over that?
Yeah, I feel like something like that. Regardless. He was a passionate person, so I think people could have been in his ear about being able to change things that he was passionate about, and that could definitely override something like not wanting to fly.
Yeah.
At this point in my life, I'm still working on my career, and I got started a little late, so there's plenty of time for politics and things. And to be honest, I'd have to educate myself more about political workings, because it's complicated.
Yeah, you are passionate about some issues, though. One of them is what is it again that you've done quite a bit of work on your social media?
Well, there's
animal rights.
It's there's I've worked with the ex-CEO of Hallmark, Bill Abbott, who's a big animal rights advocate and dog adoption advocate.
Sort of against cruelty, is that what it is?
Against cruelty. I'm trying to raise awareness for this degenerative disease called degenerative myelopathy, which is essentially ALS for dogs.
Dogs have ALS?
Yeah, it's called degenerative myelopathy, and my German Shepherd came down with it at 8 years old, and within 4 months was completely paralyzed from the hips back. And it just comes out of nowhere. They start dragging their feet, and it's preventative. You can breed it out. I'd support adopting dogs, but you also can't ignore the fact that people are still going to breed dogs. So this disease is bred into these dogs. It's really prevalent in German Shepherds, Corgis. There's certain breeds, but any dog can get it, and it's preventable. Holding breeders accountable and test for it. $60 to test for. So if you have a dog that has the gene, don't breed the dog. And that was just because that was a very personal thing to me. But I've also
Bill heard about your experience, and then is that how it happened?
Yeah, he just working with Hallmark and being introduced to each other and seeing each other's social media and stuff. We just started.
And then also bullying. That's another big one for you.
Started an anti-bullying initiative. Be the Kind Kid on Instagram. I work with the Ad Council on the Hallmark Channel, and I started before COVID visiting a middle school called Deer Lakes Middle School in Pennsylvania, and wanted to continue visiting more schools in Kansas City and across the United States. COVID hit, and of course couldn't do that, so hopefully we'll be able to jump back into that soon. But the bullying thing when I was a kid is rough enough. You go to school, if you're getting picked on, it's hard enough to deal with. These days, with social media and the internet, you can't get away from it. Kids are bullied at school, when they're home, and the bullying, it's spread like a disease online. And from the anonymity and the safety of a computer screen, these people can be such a-holes.
I don't know what it was like for you. You're a little bit younger than me, but I can't imagine bringing all the normal drama we had in school to the online world. It just seems unthinkable to me.
Yeah.
And all the cruelty we were probably all capable of to each other, and now it's like you said, you can do it anonymously. Hey, so-and-so broke up with so-and-so, can you believe? Imagine all that. I feel sorry for
someone with a tendency of spreading rumors like that or picking on somebody. It's just exacerbated by being safe from a distance. You don't even have to do it in person. Right? You can just,
I didn't even have. Did you have the internet in high school?
No.
It didn't exist, right?
No. Right. It was. I graduated in '96, so
it was just starting.
I remember there was like 2 computers in the library with the green screens. The Apple computers or whatever, the green screens.
Yeah.
Big boxes and stuff. But I don't ever remember getting on the internet.
Yeah, it wasn't online. I remember I had CompuServe. Remember CompuServe and AOL?
AOL.
Remember that ding would ring up and you connect. We're dating ourselves here, but also imagine
the sound
these
of
kids.
An internet loading up.
Right. I just feel horrible for these kids that, so that's great that you're doing that. And
I think it's important, where I was trying to figure out what would be the best group of kids to get, and elementary's a little too young. They're not quite there yet. And high schoolers, I think the impressionable age, and someone who the ages of middle school, 7th, 8th grade. So.
Yeah. Well, it's been a great conversation to talk about John and this role. I'd love to just hear. I've been asking all of our actors that we work with. I'd just love to hear kind of as you've immersed yourself, I mean, you only had a week to do it, but as you immerse yourself in this character, what did you learn anything interesting, and what do you think our audience will take away from John and from his character and what he did in the world?
Well, I think what's so cool about this movie is a lot of these movies about the presidents are about their presidency. This is a story of a human being, his upbringing, his parents. You get to really get a feeling for where he came from. Then you see into his presidency, how he became president, how the presidency affected him, his relationship with he and Nancy. And when I step into the picture, I get to be this. John Barletta was this link. He was one of his main Social Security agents.
Secret Service.
Social Security. Can we edit that out? Secret Service agents. And prior to John being assigned as the equestrian Secret Service agent, Reagan went through a couple who were getting bucked off of horses, claiming they could ride, but they really couldn't ride. So he's really looking for someone who was a legitimate cowboy. John Barletta happened to be that guy. Because of that, there was this connection that the two had that really they became best friends, and it was during his presidency and then into the later years of his life. So you got to see this friendship that wasn't publicized. I didn't know about John Barletta before getting this role. It's really cool to see that private side and how close that they were, and how Reagan had this ranch. This is where this was his happy place that he got to go out and what he was really, really loved to do in life. And John got to be that link and got to make sure he was safe while doing it, and then had the difficult responsibility to tell him he couldn't do it anymore. So I just think there's a really cool human story that very few are familiar with, that I'm glad I got to be a part of telling.
Yeah, I'm interesting you said that, because before our friend Sean, our mutual friend Sean, came aboard, our director was John Avildsen, who directed Rocky and The Karate Kid and he was 81 years old. He passed away from cancer very quickly. I said, Sean, you don't mind if I talk about John? He said, no, not at all. So, but John used to say, he would say, Mark, Rocky is not about boxing. That's just the backdrop. And this movie that we were working on, it's not about politics. That just happens to be the backdrop for what he does for a living. And I've always tried to live by that credo. It's an interesting observation that John was so smart about. But what was maybe this will be my wrap-up question. What was the direction that Sean gave you versus what did you just kind of bring yourself in that moment? Do you recall what he was telling you on the set or previously?
When he called to talk to me about the role, about offering me the part, we had a conversation. He let me do my own research. He let me bring whatever I come up with to the role, and kind of just let me go. And what was really great when Dennis and I were riding together, Dennis had a lot to say. Certain mannerisms and stuff that he did, if you looked close, you can see on camera, signifying his kind of mental deterioration, and how I was kind of there helping him along and almost leading his horse at times. Sean just kind of let us do our thing.
Yeah, that is kind of Sean's brilliance, isn't it?
Yeah. Because it was the discussion prior.
Right.
He planted a seed.
Right.
So then when I was doing my research, I was looking for certain things. I was looking in John's storytelling for little signs and little hints of what their friendship was like and what their dynamic was like, and even the friendship he had with Nancy. It's like, having your best friend's wife or something, where
right.
You can talk about him in a certain way, where they're both looking out for him.
Sort of like a son, right? In a way, kind of a surrogate son.
Yeah. With a friendship in there. It's I don't know. It was great. Now, I'd worked with Sean on a film prior, so we kind of knew each other, and I think him just kind of letting me hash it out, and I knew if he had any problems with it, he let me know.
Yeah. So. He didn't, so that means...
so hopefully hopefully no one else does either.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great to have you as part of it, and thanks for bringing so much heart and soul to it. It was really really amazing, the people we worked with. It was an extraordinary cast in so many ways, and everyone came through different routes. You know, it was some people I brought, some people our casting director Sean. We all just were waiting for the right people to show up, and they did.
I think it's great. I think sometimes, good things come to those who wait. It sounds like you guys waited long enough.
We did. If that's the case, it's going to be really good. Thanks for coming and visiting our faux Oval Office today near downtown LA, where we hang out. And I'll see you next time when you bring your family, your mom and dad and your brother, and we'll all watch it together when it gets into shape.
Looking forward to it.
Thanks for coming out.
Thanks, Mark.
All right.
All right.